Hello, everybody. Today is Friday. I don't know about you, but I've been looking forward to Friday. Yay! It is May 9th, 2025, and you are here with Robin at In the Family Way Coaching. We are here for our daily counting of the Omer and for our daily Bible reading as we go through the Day by Day Kids Bible written by our favorite Bible writer. Well, she's not a Bible writer. She just translated it into a easy to understand version. Kids Bible, and it's not just for kids. And it is written by Karen Henley. Yay, Karen Henley! Yay! Let's all pray for Karen Henley today, that she has a fabulous day wherever she is. Dear Lord, I pray that Karen Henley be blessed today in whatever you give her to do, and that she has a fabulous day today. And in Jesus' name we ask this. Amen. I am so thankful to her for writing this version of the Bible. Just using that phrase, making God the most important one in your life, instead of translating it fear of the Lord, because everywhere in the big Bible where it says fear of the Lord, she has translated it making God the most important one. So, for instance, in the Proverbs, we normally would read, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But she has written it as making God the most important one is the beginning of wisdom. And just that one simple line, understanding it in that form, has made a huge difference in my daily life. And I hope it has for you too. So if you are following along on your commitment calendar, go ahead and take that out. Get your sticker ready or however you are marking it off, because you're about to hear the Bible today. If you would like to count the Omer for yourself today as we count down the days to Pentecost, go ahead and just repeat after me, and then you too will have counted the Omer in obedience to God's commandment to do so. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has set us apart by your commandments and has commanded us to count the Omer. Today is the 5th day of the 4th week and day 26. I have counted the Omer. It is an early day for me, and I am, no surprise, running late in my morning. So I am going to get us right into our Bible reading today, and then I have a very special daily application for us at the end. Yesterday, we saw that at the end of our story, that Elijah was taken up to heaven, and Elisha is to replace him as prophet. He asked for 2 times the amount of spirit that Elijah had, and yet that is what God gave him. So today we are going to start reading about Elisha. And remember, this is a different spelling than Elijah with a J. This is Elisha, Elisha. Today's reading comes to us from 2 Kings chapter 4 and 2 Kings chapter 8, verses 1 and 2. Our first section is entitled Oil to Sell. One day a prophet died. His wife went to Elisha, saying, "My husband is dead." "You know how much he loved God," she said, "but he owed some money. The man he owed it to wants to take my 2 boys. He wants to make them his slaves." "What's in your house?" asked Elisha. "Nothing," she said. "There is just a little oil." "Go to your neighbors," said Elisha. "Ask them for jars that have nothing in them, Ask for lots and lots of jars. Then go into your house with your sons, close the door, and fill each jar with oil." So the woman left. She did what Elisha said. After their door was closed, her boys brought the jars to her. She put oil from her jar into all the other jars. At last, all the jars were full, and she said, "Bring me another jar." "There aren't any more jars," said her sons. Then no more oil came from her jar. The woman went to tell Elisha that they were finished. "Now go and sell the jars of oil," said Elisha. "Pay the money your husband owes him." The next section is entitled, "A Room on the Rooftop." One day Elisha went to a town called Shunem. A rich woman lived there, and she asked Elisha to come for dinner. Every time Elisha went through Shunem, he ate there. The woman told her husband, "Elisha is a prophet. Let's make a little room on our roof, and let's put a bed and a table there. Let's put a chair and lamp in it. Elisha can stay there when he comes." One day Elisha came and he went into his room. He lay down on the bed, and he had a servant named Gehazi. He asked Gehazi, "What can we do for this woman?" "Her husband is old," said Gehazi, "and she doesn't have a son." "Call her," said Elisha. Gehazi called the woman. She came and stood at the door. "You will have a son at this time next year," said Elisha. "Don't be silly," she said. Later, she found out she was going to have a baby. And next year she had a baby boy. And it happened just like Elisha said it would. The boy grew older, and one day he went out to the field to see his father. "My head hurts," cried the boy. "Take him back to his mother," his father told a servant. The servant picked up the boy and he carried him to his mother. The mother held the boy in her lap, but at noon he died. She took him up the stairs to Elisha's room. She closed the door. Then she called her husband. "Send a servant here with a donkey," she said. "I need to go see Elisha." "Why?" asked her husband. "It's not a holiday or a worship day." "That's all right," she said. She put the saddle on the donkey. She told her servant to lead the donkey. "Don't go slowly unless I tell you," she said. She found Elisha at Carmel Mountain. Elisha saw her coming, and he sent Gehazi to her. "Look, there's the woman from Shunem," said Elisha. "Run down and ask her if everything is all right." Gehazi went and asked her. "Yes," she said, "everything is all right." When she got to Elisha, she held onto his feet, and Gehazi started to push her away. "Leave her here," said Elisha. "She's very sad, but God hasn't told me why." "Weren't you the one who said I'd have a son?" she cried. Then Elisha turned to Gehazi. "Take my walking stick," he said. "Run to her house and don't stop to say hello to anyone you meet. And don't stop for anyone else who says hello to you. Lay my walking stick on the boy's face." "I'm not leaving you," said the woman. So Elisha got up and went with her. Gehazi got to the woman's house first, and he laid Elisha's walking stick on the boy's face, but nothing happened. Gehazi went back to meet Elisha, and he told him, "The boy is still dead." Elisha got to the house. He went up to his room. He went in alone and shut the door. He saw the boy on his bed, so he prayed to God. Then he got on the bed too, and he lay down on the boy. He put his mouth to the boy's mouth. He put his eyes on the boy's eyes. He put his hands on the boy's hand. The boy's body got warm. Elisha got up. He walked around the room. Then he got on the bed again, and he lay down on the boy again. The boy sneezed. He sneezed 7 times, and then he opened his eyes. Elisha called Gehazi. "Call the woman," he said. Gehazi called her, and she came. And Elisha said, "Here is your son." The woman bowed down at Elisha's feet, and then she took her son and left the room. Sometime later, Elisha talked to the woman again. "Take your family to another land," he told her. "God is sending a time when no food will grow. There won't be much to eat, and this will go on for 7 years." So the woman did what Elisha said. She moved to another land, and she stayed there for 7 years. And that is the end of our reading today. So we saw Elisha do amazing things today. And we've been seeing God do amazing things a lot lately. He caused the Israelites to, or the people of Judah, to win the battle when they went to him and asked him what they should do. And God fought the battle for them. And when they arrived at the battle scene, all of the men in the enemy army were dead. God took care of it. And here we see that, and they had faith. They believed God and they obeyed. And so we've been talking a lot lately about first we obey and then God does. We have to have faith and belief. That's what faith is to believe. And we obey. And then God does it. God doesn't show us first and then do it. He may tell them this is what is going to happen, but they have to obey. And in the same way that God took care of Elijah and the woman with enough food to feed them, first she had to obey. And then there was enough food. She fed Elijah first, and then there was enough food for her and her son. And here we see Elisha tell the woman to go and get jars, empty jars. And she had just a little oil in her jar. And she obeyed. And then there was enough oil to fill every jar that she had received. And in the Big Bible, it actually goes a little bit further to say that once she sold, Elisha told her to go and sell the oil, and she would have enough money to both pay off the debt. And he said, "And the rest you may live on." So there wasn't just going to be enough money to pay the debt exactly, and that was it. God actually blessed her obedience, with enough for them to live on. I wish that Karen Henley had included that part in the story, but she didn't include that part in our version. But I thought that very important, because we've spoken a long time ago about how when God doles out, when he dishes out, when he measures out, he's not stingy, he's not cheap. He gives us a good measure, tamped down and overflowing. And this is exactly what her obedience produced. It wasn't her that did it. When she obeyed, God measured out not just enough to pay the debt, he gave her enough as a widow to live on. And it was her faith, her obedience first. Then we see the faith of the Shunammite woman, who did not ask for a son, but Elisha was trying to be kind to her. And so he gave her a son in order to repay her kindness to him. And then we see that as soon as that boy died, she had faith that that God, through Elisha, would be able to and would choose to save her son. So she went to him, and God did not reveal ahead of time why she was coming. So she needed to make that journey, apparently, all the way to Elisha. We don't know how long that journey took, but it must have been more than 10 minutes, I'm sure. She was in another town. So we see that she obeyed. That she had faith. And then God honored her faith. We see in the New Testament that when people would come to Jesus asking for healing, he said, "It is your faith that has made you well." And he said, "I tell you the truth. If you tell these mountains to move, they will get up and move." And we've been talking about how the other day when we had the battle, when the people of Judah and King Jehoshaphat had the battle to face, that sometimes God gives us big things so that we can come to him, so that we don't just say, I do, me do. And that we need to have faith in him for these big things so that he can show us something amazing. These are big things, weren't they? Well, I have my own thing now that God is calling me to have faith in. And so I'm going to share that with you. Because as we have seen, like I spoke yesterday, how these readings are not just randomly timed. Yesterday we talked about having saying things nicely and how it makes a difference in how we communicate with people, and how God was using teachings from multiple sources to convey that message. And then it all came together yesterday in yesterday's message about speaking gently to people in order to affect change. And when we do things God's way, that things work better. Because, of course, that's God's way. And he is gentle with us. He gives us this example. In the same way that we just spoke the other day about needing big things in order to see God do amazing things and to increase our faith in him, God is giving me a big thing to have faith in him. You may have noticed in the past that I always have a necklace on. And it not yesterday, but the day before, while I was at work, it fell from my neck and I didn't know it. Now, what's interesting is I kept feeling, and God had told me, "You're going to lose your necklace." And I had just taken it to the jeweler a couple of months ago and retrieved it in April. And they had said, "We don't want it to fall off." And I said, "Yes, I've been having trouble with it falling off." And so I left it there for repair. And I thought they were going to do something with the clasp, but they did something else. And so I thought that the problem was going to be solved, but I was worried that it wasn't. And then it fell off, and I had always in the past, whenever it fell, I could feel it fall. And I had that happen at work a couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, last week, maybe it was last week, where it fell at about the same time, at the same task that I was doing. And it felt and it hit the desk, and I was like, wow. But I felt it immediately when it loosened and dropped it. You can feel that weight. I guess you're just attuned to it. But at any rate, so I put it back on, and I was putting my necklace back on after a shower, probably the same last week or more. And I just felt God tell me, "You're going to lose your necklace." And yet I put it on anyways. And yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, my necklace fell. And I was in the same small work area for 3.5 hours, and I never saw it. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I don't work over a trash can. I don't know where it went. And we have a lot of security cameras where I work. And so yesterday, and wasn't until yesterday morning that I realized I'm not wearing my necklace. So I looked everywhere. I looked in my house. I wasn't sure where exactly I had lost it. I didn't know at what point I didn't have it. So I looked at my video picture for not yesterday, but 2 days ago, and I was wearing it. So I had it when I left the house, but I didn't have it when I woke up yesterday morning. So I spoke with our head of security yesterday, and he asked me to give him a log of my time of where I was and when. So I did. I wrote all of that down, and he was able to go back and narrow it down to about a 2 hour window where he saw me wearing it, and then suddenly I was not. He could not see a point where it had dropped, but he could see that suddenly I was not wearing it. And I, I am obviously I was a little bit upset over the fact that I've lost this because this is not a fake necklace. It's a real necklace that my husband had made for me. So I just felt like I was at peace, which is a strange thing to say when you've lost a diamond necklace. And and I've had it for, probably a good 10 years or so. And it's very special. I wear it all the time. I didn't even take it off for showering, and of course it would get caked up with grime and I would have to have it cleaned for a duration of time at the jeweler, and I had to scrub all the soap out of it. So finally I started to take it off during my shower time at this most recent return in April so that I wouldn't have to have that issue. And then God told me, you're going to lose your necklace. And then I did. And then I did everything I could yesterday. I looked everywhere. Other people are looking for it. I I I just looked everywhere for it around the area. And it's just interesting that I would not have seen it anywhere. So it's like it just disappeared. So I read today's uh, reading, and I got to tell you that the overwhelming thing that God was just telling me is, here's that big thing. You're supposed to have faith in me. So I believe that God is going to return my necklace to me. I don't know when it will be, but I've given it to God, and believe me, it wasn't an easy thing. I was struggling with it because I know that He can. But so I don't want you to think that this was a very easy process. I went through, and I told you I've been listening to these Jamie Winship podcasts. Well, one of the ones I've been listening to recently had talked about the intuitive mind and the rational mind. And the rational mind wants to say, this is impossible. You can't do this. They look at all the reasons why this is not going to happen. But your intuitive mind says, shut up. And with God, all things are possible. And when you um, obey and when you put your faith in God, that is where the impossible becomes possible. And then you bring it down into the rational mind, and then you work it out. So I wanted to believe, and I wanted to have faith, and I wanted to be respectful of God. And while I know that all things are possible, I wanted to present it in such a fashion at first of like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where they were facing going into an oven, a fiery oven. And they said, we know that it is God within God's ability to save us, and we don't know that if He will, but He can if He chooses to. And so I wanted to present it like that, and that's how I often present my faith: is that, Lord, I know that you can do this, but I don't know if you will choose to do so. And yet He convicted me this morning that with each of the instances that we see of faith and obedience, we don't hear people saying, well, God, we know that it's possible for you, but we don't know if you will. You come to God and you ask Him, uh, what do you want me to do? And I can't get over the fact that I felt like he told me ahead of time I was going to lose it. So I feel like that was my reassurance. And I was chalking it up to fear, that I was just fearful. And then I had failed to follow my fear and had worn it anyway. But then there was also the peace. How do you explain that? God's peace is not explainable. That's what we say. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will be given to you. And so I feel like God is telling me to wait. So I will wait. And we see in our recent examples that God has been like this with every lesson that he gives us. It immediately, there is something in life that is going on for our daily application. And I am an example. I am showing you. I talk about these things, and then I obey. And through my example, I am very encouraged by you, my watchers, my listeners, telling me that you're taking my example and you are also able or doing the same things. So God is multiplying that harvest of faith in himself. It's not me and my fabulous obedience. It's that God is using me, and that I am showing you through my struggles that I'm not perfect and that I do struggle. And that's why I'm explaining to you that this was definitely a process of struggle for me to come to that a bit and say, okay, Lord, you won the battle for the people of Judah, and they didn't even have to fight. All the men killed each other. How probable is that? How probable is that? With man, everything is impossible, but with God, nothing is impossible. He fed Elijah and the woman with enough oil and bread for quite a long time. He filled a woman's jars with oil when she had just a little oil in a jar, but he filled many, many jars. And so much so that she had not only enough to pay the debt, but to live on. With man, this is impossible, but with God, this is possible. With man, there is death, and that is it. We can't bring people back from the dead. But with God, nothing is impossible. It took the faith of both Elisha, he got back on the boy a second time. And then the boy came to life. He sneezed 7 times and he came to life. So if God can bring people back to life and fill jars with oil, then he can definitely bring me back my necklace for his glory. These things didn't just happen to appease these people and to be a blessing to them. Those things brought glory to God so that we could see these things, so that we could be encouraged to also put our faith in God, so that when we are faced with difficult circumstances, we come to God and we say, please, God, show me something amazing. And according to our faith, it will happen. So I am putting my faith in God. I don't know when this necklace will be returned, but God will bring me back my necklace. And so that is my special daily application today. And I want everybody here to be encouraged that when you have big things, no matter how big and impossible it may seem, take it to God with faith and then share what you go through with God and share the amazing story that God gives you to share so that others can benefit from your faith in God. So thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody feels that your light has been lit. And if so, please click that light button that looks like a thumbs up or looks like a heart, but it's really a light button. And I pray that you share this event with someone that maybe needs to hear it, this message. And I'm going to not mark this event as made for kids, which will enable commenting on it so that comments can be placed. And I hope everybody has a fabulous rest of their day, and I will see everybody here again tomorrow.